Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down really complex topics into clear, actionable insights that you can actually use. Today, we're diving deep into a playbook for hunting Chinese Advanced Persistent Threats, or APTs. And all of this is based on a fantastic in-depth article by security researcher Simcra, which you can find over on Detect FYI. So here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to follow the attacker's journey, starting with the threat landscape. Then we'll walk through how they map your network, steal credentials, and stay hidden. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with how you can actually defend against this stuff. Okay, let's dive right in. Before we get into the weeds, we've got to make sure we're all on the same page with some key concepts. First up, what exactly is an Advanced Persistent Threat, or APT? Now, don't think of this as some quick smash and grab. This is way more like a sophisticated spy operation. The whole point for these attackers is to stay hidden inside a network for a really, really long time, just quietly siphoning off valuable data. So what makes these APT groups so incredibly stealthy? Well, a lot of it comes down to this technique called living off the land, or LOLBAS. This basically means they hijack legitimate system tools that are already on your computer to do their dirty work. And because they're using trusted tools, their activity is ridiculously hard to spot. It just blends in with normal, everyday admin tasks. All right, so once an attacker gets that initial foothold inside a network, what's the very first thing they do? They look around. This is what we call the enumeration phase, and it's all about mapping out the digital terrain. They'll often kick things off by gathering some basic system details using a native tool like System Info. This just gives them a quick snapshot of the operating system, the hardware, the basic lay of the land. From there, it's pretty common for them to enumerate user accounts with a simple command like net user. This tells them exactly who has access to the system and what potential targets are on the box. Now, to understand the bigger picture, the whole network structure, they'll use something like nltest.exe. This is a powerful little utility that lets them probe domain trust relationships. You can think of it as them drawing a map of how all the different parts of the network are connected to each other. And finally, to figure out where the good stuff is, they'll use Windows Management Instrumentation, or WMI. A really simple command helps them discover all the storage devices and drives, so they know exactly where that valuable data is probably hiding. Okay, so they've mapped the terrain. Now, the attacker's main goal is to get more power by stealing credentials. And the ultimate prize, the absolute crown jewels of any Windows domain, is this one file, ntds.dig. Here's the thing, though. Attackers can't just copy this file directly. It's always locked by the operating system. So what do? They get clever. They create a volume shadow copy, basically a snapshot of the system, and then they can pull the ntds.dit file and the system registry hive from that copy. Once they have those two files, it's game over. They can take them offline and crack all the password hashes. And this right here shows you the exact commands they might use. See, they're leveraging built-in, trusted tools like ntdsutil, or maybe even wrapping it inside WMIC to run the whole extraction. To any basic security tool, this just looks like a system admin doing their job. But look, getting the credentials, that's just one piece of the puzzle. A true APT wants to stay in the network forever. So this next phase is all about persistence, making sure they can survive reboots and keep their access open indefinitely. It's like they're living in the walls. Two really common ways they do this are with scheduled tasks and port proxies. Using Scheduled tasks, an attacker can set up their malicious code to run automatically, maybe every day at midnight. And with NetShell port proxy, they can create these hidden tunnels to forward network traffic, which basically gives them a secret backdoor that can waltz right past the firewall. They also just love to abuse trusted Microsoft programs like rundll32.exe. By using it as a proxy, they can run malicious DLLs to do all sorts of nasty stuff, like dumping credentials right out of memory or deploying really sophisticated backdoors like Cobalt Strike, all while hiding inside a legitimate Windows process. Okay, so we've seen all these offensive techniques, we know how they operate, so how in the world do you defend against it? Let's pivot and talk about building a much stronger defensive posture. You know, the biggest takeaway here is all about visibility and control. You have to monitor the very tools we've been talking about, ntdusil, WMIC, schedule tasks. You need to audit for any weird or unauthorized changes to scheduled tasks or firewall rules. Most importantly, you have to harden your domain controllers because that's where the NTDS DIP file lives. And finally, turn on enhanced logging and use modern security controls like attack surface reduction rules to proactively block these behaviors before they even have a chance to succeed. We really hope this breakdown of an APT playbook was helpful. If you learned something new today, please take a second to hit that like and subscribe button. It is a huge, huge help for our team and lets us keep making more content just like this. Thanks for watching.